We're covering a roasting production day with Pack, but we have two coffees we want to talk about. This will be its own video because I really want to highlight Thai coffee. I've been on this whole Southeast Asian Thai coffee journey right now. So we did a collab on a passion fruit co-fermented coffee, but I wanted to feature more Thai coffee, and Pack is one of the few roasters in the US focusing on Thai coffee. And this is a video that we want to talk about on roasting Thai coffee. So let's talk about this coffee and your approach and so on and so forth.
So this coffee is very special. I know that we launched it with Brian long ago, a very long time ago. This coffee is from Billy, Mammoth Mountain. So one of the farmers who literally changed my life back in the day. And this is the exact same coffee that literally got me into coffee, but it's a different batch year. So that one was in 2019, 2020. That's the first batch that I tried from Billy. And now I've been roasting this coffee. So pretty incredible to be able to start from sipping the first cup of coffee that really get into the coffee industry, and now roasting that coffee to you guys.
Yeah, and the yields of this coffee are very low. So you have this amount that you're roasting for customers,
Right.
But then you have just a little bit more over there. But let's talk a little bit about this coffee. So what is it, and how is it processed?
So this coffee is the natural anaerobic process. It's very popular in Thailand for the past 2 years because they start to do some different type of process for coffee, and people start to experiment. Farmers start to experiment about fermentation. So this was the beginning of the coffee process in Thailand, to be very frank. They do fermentation on this coffee for 1 day in the tank, and then they dry on the coffee bed, just like natural anaerobic, right? But because of the origin and its own terroir, it makes the red cherry like with this process. So this is no crazy process. It's just natural anaerobic process that seal in the tank for 24 hours, and then dry on the coffee bed. Very special coffee and very red cherry forward. Lately has some of the pomegranate to it, and also like red cherry juice.
Yeah, I got like red cherry juice with black milk tea at the back. But you can clearly see in the coffee it is processed. And this is the thing with these Thai coffees is we have producers now tapping into processing, which is why I really want to feature these coffees. It's on the come up, especially with a lot of these more interesting processes, like processes that are very fruit forward, but they taste so unique because they're grown in Thailand on a very, the terroir is so fascinating to me. So I've been on this train. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go and showcase these coffees. And there is only a little bit of this coffee left because Thai coffee production, the yields are incredibly low. So it's really amazing to have a coffee that Pack actually has been quite involved with to be featuring it for you guys. And he's going to talk about roasting it. So you're roasting on Loring, which is, I would personally classify as a high clarity roaster. But how do you approach roasting Thai coffees versus other origins?
So the Thai coffee, again, I think we talked about it in the past year, that I like to roast Thai coffee very sweet. I think it's important to be able to roast the coffee and make sure that we represent the terroir still, but also like develop it more on the creamy flavor, like the black tea flavor that you see. Trying to get the floral from the coffee, but that's depend on the lot and the coffee that's coming to us. And what I like the most is about shining on the brightness, but also maintaining the sweetness in the cup. So that's why I'm roasting Thai coffee this way. And also because of the low altitude of the coffee origin, like lower than 1,500 meter above the sea level. So you cannot really push a lot of heat into it. That's gonna make the coffee very greenish and some unwanted flavor that coming up.
Yeah, so, and also we're seeing these coffees get better and better. So I think each year you could push the coffee a bit harder, but there's kind of this really interesting natural sweetness that I find in these Thai coffees. I think maybe because of the larger body, like I think there's always this kind of black milk tea effect that I get in these coffees. And I think in a roasting perspective, pushing more of that sweetness through makes these coffees super tasty.
Right.
And you're not pushing these coffees so hard where you're finding the processing fall apart, at least from a flavor perspective. So Pack is probably one of the few that has roasted the most Thai coffee in the U.S. at this point.
I guess.
So I trust his.
I'm not sure, no, but I guess, yeah.
Well, there's not that much of this coffee to roast in the first place.
All right, we're gonna load the coffee in.
So you're charging this at a lower temperature.
Yeah, only 410. So usually people would charge like 430, 420. But for me, I go lower because I want it to be longer. As again, coming to the sweetness for the cup, that's why I'm extended. Brian always said that I'm an Asian style roaster.
Yeah.
So I like more sweetness in the cup than
yeah. I do feel like a lot of Asian roasters like to push for sweetness, and it's like a stylistic choice, right? It's like there's already good sweetness in the coffee. How do we push that up more? Whereas I do feel like a lot of American roasters like to push for high clarity, acidity, vibrancy, and all of that. So very different perspective. That is an opinion, at least I have. I feel like people kind of agree with this at times. I mean, you're seeing a guy right here, Asian roaster roasting for sweetness. What varietal is this?
This is mixed varietal, but
right.
mostly bourbon.
Yeah, it's because they grow a variety of different plants on the farm. I will put pictures of Pack with Billy on the screen somewhere here. What is your opinion of this coffee? How it's transformed across the last few years?
For Thai coffee?
Yeah, or this specific, like Billy's.
Oh, Billy coffee. I think the quality of the flavor get better, and they're more acid to this year. Like, to be very honest, last year was my favorite because it's less acid. This year is more acid.
More acid.
Yeah, I think it's the better thing. It's a better improvement. It's not like...
I think it's more catered towards like what someone like me I would like, because I did experience that. I brewed this coffee this past week and I was like, oh wow, there's actually a lot of acidity, cherry-like red fruits.
Right.
Last year I definitely remembered it being very, very sweet, and that was my first experience tasting this coffee.
Yeah.
So we have seen, I think a lot of people would classify that as like, oh, the coffee's getting better, right?
Yeah.
When you get more flavor clarity.
Acidity and
but I also think it's processing. I actually think the processing is getting better.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially the anaerobic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not funk only.
It's very hard to explain, but it's not so funky. It's funk, but you still taste the flavor.
Taste the terroir,
the
right?
terroir.
You still taste the Thai coffee.
Yeah.
It's like a layer on top. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Right.
But okay.
It's not like all covered by the fermentation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that we're seeing, especially in Thailand and Southeast Asia, is it's not only processing. We're now getting to a point where we're tasting the terroir.
Yeah.
They're not trying to cover things up. And also, Pack is not trying to cover things up in his roasting as well. He's just trying to take those inherent sweet qualities and boost them.
Yeah.
And I think with this specific lot, that acidity is already in there.
It's already in there.
You don't need to do anything to push the acidity out. That is something you can do in brewing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think this coffee have getting much better as acid come out, and the quality of acid is higher too. You taste the fruit, so I think that's why it's improving. But again, I just like sweetness, so I like the last year more.
Right. Yeah, so that's what he likes. And I think it fits stylistically these Thai coffees very well. Coffee is in the roaster. This is a mixed varietal, so I think with a lot of these newer farms, they're growing a variety of coffees, especially when it comes to newer regions, right? You have a bunch of different plants.
Right.
And mixing it together and processing it actually makes it taste very good. Like, mixed varietal stuff does taste pretty good nowadays.
But all the Thai farmers now, they're trying to separate the varietal as much as possible. But just some farm that, you still need to organizing the farm to be able to separate it. Like for Billy, he's still working on it to separate all the varietal in each coffee. Like, they trying to organize the tree to a certain area so they know that which tree are group of this varietal or another varietal. He doing that with geisha now and some other pink bourbon and stuff. So looking forward to see it next year.
Yeah, I'm very excited. But yeah, these are these are the things you hear of with newer regions. Is sorting at any level is going to greatly improve these coffees, right? Either sorting at a cherry level, all the way to sorting the plants and so on and so forth. And even post-sorting after roasting. But you'll see that as we roast this coffee, it is a well-processed coffee because we aren't going to see as many like crazy Quakers and defects and all of that. despite thinking about the specs, right? Low elevation, processed coffee from a newer region, right?
Yes.
These are like all things working against it, but that's what I'm saying is like, you're gonna see the coffee and you're gonna be able to taste the coffee and pick it up. Hopefully you have some more. I hope people buy this coffee and taste, right?
It's very rare to Thai coffee here, actually.
As with all of these Asian regions, usually all of the coffee consumption happens within the region, within the area.
Yeah. They consume it in the region.
Yeah, like we're not even talking like in the country. We're talking like near the farm.
Yeah.
In the area, right? Which is kind of why exporting these coffees and importing them is very difficult.
Very difficult.
And these coffees are sometimes more expensive. Although I think the coffees that Packet has are on a fair price, right? They're not absurdly expensive.
Yeah.
Like you'll find, for example, Taiwan coffees to be like 4 or 5x the cost of these.
More time,
And very similar too in terms of like, okay, lower elevation, newer process, so on and so forth.
Oh, careful.
Coffee in the roaster. So it's interesting to hear that the coffees are always getting better, right? Like this is the thing is, the last time we filmed the video, I think you were roasting this coffee too, or you were roasting something very similar. It's interesting to see like, more acidity, the coffees are getting better and all of that. But you can still roast in a very similar style.
Similar style, yeah.
Right. But you put the coffee in, you charge at the lower temperature. Now what do you do?
Yeah, I like to keep things similar as the profile. I think my profile is pretty solid now. Like flavor always come out almost the same. I mean, the roasting style, but then the flavor different by that.
Yeah, I would say the way I describe Pac's roasting style is sweet, layered, and you get the acidity underneath. Definitely more tea and floral like. So, and very sweet. So it is sweetness forward with clarity versus I would say like a Say roasting style or a Moonwake roasting style is like clarity, sparkly acidity forward, and then sweetness at the back. So it's kind of flipped. Which I think works out great for a lot of these coffees, especially from Thailand. But I really want to push these Thai coffees out there and have you guys taste because it is such a unique experience. But your profiles are pretty locked in, I would say.
Yeah, very locked in. Now just have to see.
I think the biggest difference for anybody who pays attention to these videos to roasting, even if you're not a roaster, is going to be the development time.
Yep, development time.
The first difference is definitely the charge temp is lower and the development time is going to be longer. And we're going to see that in a little as we approach that in the roasting. It is just a bit of sitting around though.
Yeah.
But he paid attention to the graphs. You got to look at the graphs, make sure the behavior of the coffee.
Yeah, behavior of coffee are going the same direction.
Yeah. But your batch for this coffee was 15 pounds?
15 pounds, yes.
Okay. But you're also on the Loring S15, which is a 32 pounds.
I think it's about that.
15 kilo roaster. But it's interesting. I think the reason why you get the sweetness with high clarity is because he's roasting on Loring. Versus something like ProBat, it would be sweetness at the back because of drum roasting. Even though, you would say, oh, well, if you want to roast longer, why don't you roast on drum?
Yeah.
I think you lose some of the clarity that you can now accomplish with Thai coffee. The coffee's getting to a point where it's like you actually do want high clarity
high clarity
for it. But you can get the sweetness with the longer development time.
You do, yes. All right, looking good. Everything following by the curve.
So yeah, following his curve from before, which means the behavior of this coffee is very consistent between batches. That means the coffee quality is pretty good. Behavior is good across the entire bag.
I agree. I think today is very hot.
Yeah, well, today specifically right now is a beautiful...
I don't know how...
This is the weather right now. 89 degrees, 90. It is 90 degrees. Wonderful temperature to be roasting coffee.
Yesterday was like, how much, 105?
Yeah, it is miserable.
Yeah.
See, the colors are starting to change.
Yep, a bit.
And you can see that it's an anaerobic process. You can see it's definitely processed.
Yep, the color change on point, which is good. Very good. Very hair-like.
Yeah, well, it's... We're not there yet where we get the fruity flavors.
Yeah, not yet. I'm very excited to roast Billy coffee. It's fun, and I love seeing his improvement every time. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Next year, I don't think he's doing this process anymore. He want to do some new experiment.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what he said. He's gonna try to change. He want to go more on a cleaner side,
yeah.
like watch coffee, honey coffee, something like that.
But yeah, these Thai producers are experimenting, right? We're clearly seeing advanced fermentation, a lot of innovation in processing, and that is, they're picking it up very, very fast.
Yep. Yeah, with Thai coffee start to do some interesting process now this year. Like for example, yeast process, koji process, lactic process using yogurt, and some cold fermentation. Like they put the anaerobic in the tank and then they run through the cold water and then dry after that. So there's a lot of things going on, especially Jarun.
Yeah.
He'd like to do some interesting stuff.
Yeah, like you'll find, I find like at least the coffees you can buy from Pack, Jarun does crazy stuff, but his coffees are pretty clean. Like some of the honeys are very clean.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Billy's coffees are a little more ferment forward, a little more like red cherry fermentation forward, anaerobic definitely.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun to see the differences between producer expression, right? These
You've seen it by the expression from each farm. It's very different.
But they all do distinctively taste Thai.
Yeah.
You definitely can taste the differences.
Yeah, but Billy coffee is not super ferment. I mean, it's ferment, but it's not super funky.
Yeah.
So you can still taste the
You
flavor.
still taste Thai terroir, but you taste processing fermentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just fun.
That's look pretty good.
You see the colors definitely get more even as the coffee starts to get roasted. Smells, I mean, I'm smelling something.
Yeah. Good? Yeah, fruity.
Oh yeah, very fruity.
Yeah, right?
Smells sweet, cherries.
Yeah, cherry, yeah, definitely.
Cherry.
Very sweet. Smell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, super
good.
sweet
Super
smelling. Super excited about Thailand. And these Thai coffees, you know, it's like, why are we making this entire video about this anaerobic natural coffee, right? I'm like, oh, anaerobic natural seems so normal today, right? Seems so basic. But it's coming from Thailand, and it's very important to be showcasing these coffees out to people. And you need to be able to taste the coffee, right? You have to, I think it all makes sense when you taste the coffee. But this is one of the only ways you can get this coffee right now if you're in the States. But yeah, as we talked about before, we have a Thai man roasting the Thai coffee.
Yeah, actually, Thai man roasting
Thai
coffee.
man roast Thai coffee. But you've been to this farm. You spent time processing coffee.
Processing this
you
thing.
know this coffee well. So that's why we show you roasting it. All right, so we're almost at first crack.
Yep, I'm gonna drop it in. Very good. Wow, look at that.
So you drop the coffee. Coffee smells incredible, and you can see that it's like pretty decently processed. The amount of defects is quite low, considering the specs of this coffee. And you know, they're just starting to do a lot of really interesting sorting at origin, right? Like if you see what they're already doing in Ecuador and obviously in Panama and Taiwan, you see a lot of meticulous care in sorting coffees, and we're starting to see that in Thailand as well.
That's good. Beautiful graph.
Yeah. So what is happening here?
So happening here, you know, it's a long roast. It's 9 minutes and almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's how I roast Thai coffee. First crack is about 7 minutes, 8 minutes ish. So I developed the coffee to 140 at least. That's a very long development time.
Yeah.
So for most people, like ultra light roast, this is the different size of the ultra light roast, but it's still in the light roast game. So that's what we are doing.
Yeah.
And I chart things very low because this coffee has low of the density. So if it tastes nicer when you have using the low charting temperature. So So that's why I extended longer and kind of built all this sweetness during the center.
Yeah. And I think that's what you should be doing with a lot of these Thai coffees. Like, I think we can one day when we have more Thai coffee, maybe we'll do a collab on an ultralight Thai coffee. But for these, especially these more anaerobic natural process where there is fermentation and there's a lot of boosted sweetness from the fermentation, you do want to taste that, in my opinion. So yeah, but Pack does roast these coffees slightly longer, but lower charge temp specifically for Thai coffees. And I think that's just like, you know, how it is with the terroir. But you can see, I'm seeing a few defects in this coffee, but you know, it's not that bad when you think about the specs of the coffee, right? Like maybe we see a few Quakers there. I see, yeah, pretty even. Also mixed varietal, so not every bean is the same.
Yeah, not all the same. I think this is Tatura. That's the bourbon right there. So it's very different.
Yeah, so they all kind of roast slightly differently, but close enough. And there it is. So you'll be able to pick this coffee up on Pack's website. There's not that much of it left. He has a few, like maybe a little bit more left in here. So maybe one more roast of it he could pull off. But that is, you know, this is such a unique region, and I wanted to post a video about roasting this coffee again. Compared to last year, if you look at last year's video versus this year's video, it is just, this coffee's getting better. And it's definitely more in line with what I think a lot of people will like. You can go, it's light roast, you get that nice fermentation, and you taste the Thai flavor profile. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. This is such a unique coffee. You know, at the end of the day, it's like anaerobic natural Thai, right? It's on the come up. Thailand is on the come up. So I hope you guys pick this coffee up and taste. There it is. See you guys later.